Hi guys, Mark here for KetoKitchenCollection.com, the home of the dynamic keto meal plan, and today's question is, on a keto diet, how many carbs should I eat? Well, everyone is going to be different. Okay, you'll get a lot of different conflicting answers from a lot of different people all over the internet, but what I'm going to do in this particular video is give you an exact target. Okay, if you get general information online on different videos, forums, Facebook groups and whatnot where people are a bit vague about it, it doesn't help you. So I'm going to give you a specific target of how many carbs you should eat, and then I'm going to teach you how you can manipulate the carbs, the different amounts of carbs throughout the days and the weeks so that you can test and see what works for you. Okay, so listen up, watch all the way through. This is going to be extremely helpful for you. All right, now first of all, I'm going to set the scene for what works for me, and we'll move forward from that on what can potentially work for you. So for me, when I first started on keto, I would limit myself to 10 grams of carbohydrates a day, which is really, really, really low. Okay, I got into ketosis fine, and that was fantastic. What I do these days, if I'm going to ketosis, is I double it. I give myself 20 grams of carbohydrates per day. I do that because I can still get into ketosis in about the same amount of time, which is about 3 days, maybe 4 days, and it allows me to have a greater breadth of different types of foods that I can eat, different options for foods. It just makes things a little bit more palatable and I suppose bearable, because when you're on 10 grams of carbohydrates a day, it's very, very restrictive with the types of foods you can eat. Now, I can, once I'm in ketosis, having been on 20 grams of carbs a day for about 3, 4, 5 days, I bump it up to about 30 grams of carbs a day, 25 to 30 grams of carbs a day if I want to go that high, which I don't always, but if I want to go that high, I'll allow myself to do so once I'm in ketosis and I can maintain ketosis on 25 to 35 grams of carbs per, 25 to 30 grams of carbohydrates per day. If I go above 30 grams of carbs a day, or even sometimes at 30 grams of carbs a day, I tend to get carbohydrate cravings, okay? I'm not going to go into all the details of why and how the body converts protein into glucose and carbs in your own body. It's called gluconeogenesis, by the way. But when I go above 30 grams of carbohydrates a day, when I'm in ketosis, I start getting carbohydrate cravings, and that's what knocks me off the keto diet. So something for you guys just to be aware of. Now, being that that's what works for me, and I've tested that 20 or 25 times being in and out of ketosis to figure out what works perfectly for me, what might work perfectly for you? Well, here's your target. Here's what I suggest you do if you've never been in ketosis before. Aim for 20 grams of carbohydrates per day. And I don't just say that because that's worked for me. I say it because, well, 10 grams has worked for me, 10 grams of carbohydrates. If you can eat literally 0 grams of carbohydrates per day, you will get into ketosis fine. But you want to make sure that you do have some range of options for food that aren't too limiting, because if you really, really strictly limit yourself right from the outset on a keto diet, you're probably not going to enjoy it and you're not going to see it through, especially when you're going through keto flu and transitioning into ketosis. That can be a bit of a challenging period. So you want to have some food that's somewhat enjoyable just to see you through that period, okay? So 20 grams of carbohydrates is the sweet spot to getting into ketosis quickly and having some foods that are nice to eat, okay? Once you're at that point, once you're in ketosis, you'll go through the keto flu. It'll be 3, 4, 5 days of challenge. You'll get into ketosis and you'll feel night and day better. You'll feel fantastic. When you're at that point, stay on 20 grams of carbohydrates for about a week, just to make sure everything's okay and you're feeling good. When you're at that point, bump it up to 30 grams of carbohydrates per day, okay? Do that for, say, a couple of weeks. See how you go. Give it some time to test it out, to see how your body feels. See if you start getting carbohydrate cravings. If you don't get carbohydrate cravings and you still feel good, you know you're in ketosis, bump it up to 40 grams of carbohydrates per day, okay? See how you go for another couple of weeks. If you start getting carbohydrate cravings, then you know, okay, 40 grams of carbs a day is too much for you. You've got to bump it back down to 30, and that's your limit. And that's a really easy way for you to figure out in a matter of a few weeks how many carbohydrates per day you can successfully maintain on a keto diet. Okay, so some people out there will be able to handle 40, 50, even 60 grams of carbohydrates per day and maintain ketosis and still feel great when they're in ketosis, okay? Typically, that's because they're living the keto lifestyle. They've been doing it for a lot of months or even a lot of years, and they're what's called fat adapted. Their body's very used to being in ketosis, and it can handle that amount of carbohydrates without getting carbohydrate cravings or kicking them out of ketosis and back into what's called glycolysis, okay? For you guys, don't just jump straight up to, if someone says, hey, I can handle 50 or 60 grams of carbohydrates a day, don't just jump straight up to that, because chances are you will probably knock yourself out of ketosis, okay? Now, an excellent way to track your carbs and have total control over the amount of carbs you're taking in on a daily basis, and also total control over your weight loss while you're on the keto diet, is to use an app called MyFitnessPal. It's available on iPhone and Android devices. It'll allow you to scan the barcode on the packets of food that you're eating, or just search and enter the foods that you've eaten in a particular meal, and it'll tally up all the carbs for you straight away. It's extremely easy to use, and I'll link that below. So guys, if you got value out of this video and it was helpful for you, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate the time you've given me today. My name's Mark from KetoKitchenCollection.com, and I'll see you guys on the next one.